Boom, 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 boom. Should be coming out my mic now. There we go. Back that up. Um, yeah, let's get this thing going. Y'all come on in this chatter line. Come on in the chatter line. How y'all doing out there today? I hope y'all feeling good, looking beautiful. I just been all around YouTube trolling, Twitch trolling, hurting feelings. I got them feelings hurt, boy. Woo! Y'all come on in this. You say you good? Well, the WNBA ain't gonna be good because they still can't come to a decision, which I can't understand why this is a problem if it says W in the whole name of the situation. It says WNBA. You would think that somebody would just say, look, W stands for woman. Bye. But based on the logic of the new world, they already have a man or had a man playing in the WNBA, which is Brittany Griner. Brittany Griner identified as a man. She didn't play in the he didn't play in the WNBA. He played in the NBA, he didn't play in the NBA. He played in the WNBA. And when asked on the interview, he said, "No, I'm pops. I'm pops." So I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they are trying to block these two women from getting in. I don't think they should. I think they should let these women play. Or they're gonna have to define what a woman is. That thing that they've been avoiding for so long, they're gonna have to say, no, you two guys are men. And this will be the first time out in public that they would say something like that. And then that's gonna be a situation where now we got to question everything. Where the mods at? It's only 41 people here right now. It's not a lot of mods. Just be said, oh, hush your mouth. Yeah, it is going to be a bad situation based on the way that they answer certain questions. Now, these guys talked about it, Clay and Book. So let's go over Clay and Book, and then we'll go over to Fox News. It's the number one story on Fox News. So we got people around YouTube acting like they're geniuses, saying Kwame talking about this, he keep talking about that. It's the number one show on Fox. It's the number one thing on Fox News right now. The WNBA is the hottest thing right now because of this situation.
WNBA not being able to define what a woman is. I can't believe this is real, but the story is dominating. We will do 3 hours today. I guarantee you the most watched, the most talked about, the most clipped segment that we will do on this 3 hours. And Buck, I know you're like kind of in disbelief. It will be this discussion about the WNBA. I will put my money where my mouth is. I will tell you the numbers are through the roof. Fox News opening outnumbered, with the lead story being this. Okay, we've got a couple of new cuts. Big picture, Buck. They had a meeting of all of the power brokers of the WNBA, the top owners, the top league executives, top Players Association members. They all sat around. They met for hours yesterday trying to discuss what the criteria to play in the Women's National Basketball Association is. Remember, the W stands for women's. Buck, they cannot figure out what a woman is. And so they finished this meeting by issuing this statement, all right? The WNBA said that they couldn't tell you what a woman is, but they condemned the hate and vitriol online, the bad faith efforts, these are direct quotes, to demean or marginalize others. So they didn't actually tell you what a woman was. Instead, they said, everybody is being mean to us online. We decry their hate, their transphobia. This is the most left-wing organization maybe on the planet right now. And they do not seem to be able to define a very basic question, which back in the day, Kindergarten Cop was quite good at. Boys have penises, girls have vaginas. Maybe we can pull that clip, send it to the WNBA to help make some decisions here. And you may say, okay, this is crazy. But remember, Ketanji Brown Jackson was asked by our friend, Senator Marsha Blackburn, at her confirmation hearings if she could say what a woman was, and she said she was not a biologist.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember she said she wasn't a biologist, and that's the whole discussion. That's what this is actually about. If people didn't know, people thinking that, oh, well, this is not a real thing, it's not a big thing. No, this is definitely a real thing. When you have people don't even know how to define a woman without saying they need to be a biologist, and you're working in the Senate, this is a real thing. This ain't no joke. So, like I said, if parents do not have control over their children because of this situation, if a little boy go to school and say he feels like a girl, more often than not, the parents are going to have to support it, or they're going to be called names based on what they want to do with their child.
Ketanji Brown Jackson was asked by our friend, Senator Marsha Blackburn, at her confirmation hearings if she could say what a woman was, and she said she was not a biologist, if I remember correctly. That was her answer under oath at her testimony.
I could tell her what a woman is, your mama. Exactly.
To be allowed on the Supreme Court. And so, Buck, we now are in a position where you have two former first-round NBA draft picks, Enes Kanter and also Royce White. But we have audio here. They have declared for the WNBA draft. The league is scrambling to try to figure out whether or not they can remain in. And there are a couple of cuts here. The Indiana Fever head coach said, kindness will win and everybody else can go to hell. This is a real quote. Listen to this. Stephanie White, cut 7.
The hate, the fear-mongering, the divisiveness, the stuff that's trying to hijack our league will not win. It won't win. We are united. We are connected. We will not be divided. Every day these women put their on the line. Every day. When they go low, we go high. Love will win. Grace will win. Humility will win. And kindness will win. I stand by them. I will always stand by them. Everybody else can go to hell.
I think
so
that it's going to be.
I can't believe this is real.
It's going to be exciting to see.
Mercy T, salute, new member. Salute. Man, this is crazy. This is absolutely nuts. I talked about this already, but I don't think anything she said went together. She just said a bunch of nothing, but she thought she said something profound.
The kindness and the inclusiveness that they extend to Enes Kanter Freedom when he becomes a WNBA player. The W does, in fact, stand for women. What is a woman? They are uncertain at this point. They are looking into it, Clay, is my understanding. They are going to look at the data. They think it needs more study. So they're going to do a little bit of dusting off the notebooks and look into this. What is a woman situation? And Enes Kanter Freedom should definitely be allowed in, as well as these other players. Who's the other one? Royce, right? Was this
Royce White.
Royce White should definitely be allowed in the WNBA. And then they can all be kind to the actual females in the WNBA when they feel like their league is being made a mockery of, because it's no longer the WNBA. It is something else when you allow men into it.
Yes.
This is the only logical conclusion. They can say these things like this coach all day that dances around the subject matter. The fact of the matter is they've got a problem.
Yeah.
They have an ideology that they will not give up on, that completely undermines and would actually disintegrate the thing that they professionally do. That's it. Everything else is just talking. It's talking around the issue. It's not about kindness. It's about, do you actually allow men to play in your league? Yes or no? That's it.
Let me actually do this, Buck, because I never would have believed that this was necessary. But I do think that the WNBA is panicked because they've been put into a tough spot. Let me give you a couple of facts that I haven't heard very many people talk about, and then let me put on the lawyer hat here for a moment. First of all, the WNBA already has a woman who identifies as a man that is played and I believe is still playing in the league. Okay. This is a woman who.
I told you. I know y'all don't like to listen to a bus a little bit. I told y'all they're going to bring this up. Brittany Griner identified as a man. They look at her as a man. They let her play in the WNBA. Now, these young, sometimes males that's identifying as females, they have to be looked at as females. Otherwise, everyone else around the world could be affected by this decision, because if you say no to them that they're males, what are you saying to the average person on the street that's just saying I identify as a female? Are they not females anymore? So that's why they're just going to go after Enes Kanter and they're going to go after Royce White, because they don't want to have the deeper discussion, because they did it in such a way that it's like, they're like, holy shit, to see a 6'10", they never thought they would have to deal with that. To see a 6'10", 6'11", ex-NBA player that with enough whatever gumption to actually go through with it. And they got the right to. Some people will say it, some people will challenge it with their words, but these two gentlemen are not joking. Sometimes identifying gentlemen are not joking. And they're going to put this thing to the test. And the only thing I see them being able to do is insult these two individuals. Griner was a real man. This boy is crazy. This boy crazy.
Who entered into trans treatment probably is getting pumped full of testosterone, and the league has allowed her to continue to be eligible even though she identifies as a man. The fact, Buck, that they have not adopted the Women's Tennis Association, the International Olympic Committee, or the NCAA, that's college athletics, the Olympics, and tennis, basic standards where you do a cheek swab and you just determine one time, are you a woman or not biologically, and then it doesn't apply anymore, makes me believe that they are concerned that they have players already who would not pass as women if they were given a cheek swab. That's one of the questions. Here's the challenge legally, Buck.
Wait,
I think so.
So you think there are trans players already?
Well, I think there may be, and again, this gets into kind of like the Castor Semenias of the world.
So you're talking about you think there might be some intersex players with hormone issues.
Yes.
Interesting.
That would not qualify under the Olympics, for instance, to be considered biological women. It makes me wonder, because they won't just put this test in. Here's the issue they're going to have. They've already allowed this woman identifying as a man, probably to pump her body through God knows how much testosterone, to play. In order to exclude Enes Kanter Freedom and Royce White, they are going to have to say that they are not women. In order to say that they are not women, they're going to have to acknowledge that they do, in fact, know what a woman is. And that is why I think they're in a legally untenable position, because the other option is that they could define what a woman is. They could just allow all men, right, which they don't want to do, which would basically end the WNBA, because there would be no female players if men are eligible who identify as women to play. And so, Buck, they can't collude now, right? It would be antitrust. You'd be able to sue. They can't change the
I'm trying to tell you, they can't change the definition. They are in trouble. The G League players make about 40 grand a year. Do you hear McClone talking about we need to close the wage gap between the G League and the NBA? We had the WNBA skip the G League in wage gap. Those girls are getting $500,000. And here it is, we got a dunk champion that can jump over 2-3 individuals, and they making about 40-50 grand. Don't quote me on that. I'm not absolutely sure, but I know it's nowhere close than the WNBA players. So what about the wage gap between NBA and G League? Why is that so far off? If these players are in the G League and they're right up under NBA caliber players, then why is it such a huge jump? And they won't talk about that. But I tell you, when they're going to talk about it, is if soon as they lift this situation to where they let men that identify get in the G League or get into the WNBA, then it's going to be the WNBA is going to turn into the NBA's G League. They're going to be able to play in the WNBA. If they play well enough, they can take their wig off and go back to the NBA just like Joanna Man. I'm telling you. Because why is the pay gap for the NBA and the G League so far? But about to be some new jobs for these guys.
definitions because they've already arguably entered into by filing their draft eligibility statements. So I think that if they refuse to draft these guys and just said we're going to collude, that would open them up to millions and millions, substantial damages. I think that this is me being just a lawyer and treating this as a serious question. I think that legally they are on untenable ground.
Today on the Vince Ellison Show.
It's a lot of people think this is a joke, but they gonna find out it ain't. They gonna find out it ain't no joke, Jack. These boys got them in a pickle. These sometimes identifying males got them in a pickle. Just telling you. It's about this country going to hell. Hey, this country has been doing this whole time, brother.
Dan, why do so many members of the league seem not to want to talk about this?
Well, because you get excluded, you get bullied, you get harassed, you have marches. Today, Cheryl Reeves, the coach of the Minnesota Lynx, playing against Sophie Cunningham, wore a shirt that said trans kids belong in reference to Sophie Cunningham saying boys should stay out of women's basketball. And I would argue, okay, what's the end of that shirt? Nobody's arguing trans kids don't belong. Sophie Cunningham simply is saying that boys should stay out of girls' locker rooms and compete against boys. And others, including unbelievably Stephanie White, the coach of the Fever, doesn't understand that nobody would have ever heard of Stephanie White. I live in Indiana. She's an Indiana legend. If boys were allowed to play against Stephanie White at her little high school in rural Indiana or at Purdue, we'd have never heard of her. She'd have never had these opportunities if boys were allowed. But the bullying, the harassment goes on in that league. The league has no integrity. The commissioner's a joke, and so people are afraid.
Yeah, it's not like LeBron James just signed on to join the Fever.
So in this free country, in this free country, people are afraid to say what they like and what they don't like. In this free country, people are afraid to say, I don't want to play with a biological boy. Parents are afraid to say, I don't want my daughter playing with a biological boy. Somehow you have committed a crime or you've done something wrong by saying that. In a free America, you can't say that. Go along, get along, gang.
There is a reason they call it women's NBA, right?
Well, that's the interesting thing. They talk about, and Stephanie White, the coach there, has talked about how we're all about inclusion. Well, hold on. In your name, it specifically says W for women. You're not about inclusion. This has become an activist group, quite frankly, John. This is not a basketball league. This is a group of activists that don't like when somebody goes against what it is that they are espousing. It's literally that simple. Sophie Cunningham, you mentioned in the intro, she did double down. They asked her, and she goes, look, it's just common sense. And frankly, and I believe you know this, most know this, it's an 80-20 issue in the United States. Keep boys out of women's locker rooms. I would guess it's a 90-10 issue across the world because other countries got to go, well, what are you, idiots? Of course you shouldn't let boys participate with girls, dress in women's locker spaces. It's the most ridiculous league with the most ridiculous agenda we've ever seen and hopefully will ever see.
Yeah, I mean, so much of the, so-called testing on this issue revolves around hormone levels. But if you grow up as a man, you generally have bigger bones, longer arms, longer legs. Even if you take, anti-hormone drugs to reduce some of those testosterone levels and so forth, you're still going to have equipment that makes you faster or taller or whatever.
No matter what you say, they're not going to believe you. There's some women out there that just want to be a man. They want to compete with men. Excuse me. I don't know why it's like the way it is, but there's some people out there that just want to compete with biological men. I don't think it's smart. I think there's going to be a generation of girls that they're not going to play sports. So what are they going to do with their time? Are they going to go back into the kitchen? Are they going to go back to school? Like, what other field that these women that are playing these sports that are tall like that, what are they going to go and do? And they're not going to, most of them are not going to be better than these biological boys. So there's something to think about. Because every time there's a transgender female that come into the space, they dominate the space. So that's just a fact.
Yeah, I mean, and Stephanie White, the coach of the Fever, said, I'm not biologically, I don't know biologically that how to comment on this. Like, wait a second, I'll give you a way to do it. All you got to do is watch a women's tennis match and then watch a men's tennis match and tell me they're the same. Obviously, they are not. But again, everybody, including coaches, is afraid because there is no backing. Think about this. In every modern sports league, a coach of a team with a star player like Sophie Cunningham or Caitlin Clark protects that player. In the WNBA, Stephanie White, the head coach, is so afraid to protect her players, both from being physically abused on the court like Clark is, or saying something that damn near everybody with a thinking brain agrees with. Oh, it's a joke, it's a farce. And if you don't understand the physical differences between men and women, that's on you. That's simple biology.
She said that they'll burn that gym down. If she said that they would, the palace would be on the ground. They don't want to hear truth like that. Truth is anger. Truth is, they'll call you dangerous. They'll call you some sort of nasty name. Yeah, the truth is not, no. The truth does not set you free. The truth will get some eyes on you that you don't want. And that's what that young lady is trying to avoid. That coach is going to do, she's going to look like a jerk. She's going to look like a piece of POS. But she's trying to keep her future intact. Because if she don't, you know what'll happen.
Yeah, I've seen those, Senate hearings where people have been asked to define a woman, and they're afraid to do it. I mean, they could do it, I suppose, but there's a lot of fear out there these days, and it seems silly, frankly.
Well, it's idiotic. It's silly. It's bullying. It's almost like everything that liberals / folks in the WNBA rail against, they are doing. We're inclusive. Well, wait a second. You're mad at Caitlin Clark because she came in here as a straight white girl. Well, we're inclusive. Well, yeah, except if you are saying something we don't like. I applaud people for going out in Minneapolis, one of the most liberal cities in our country, and rallying. I applaud Riley Gaines, Jennifer Say, for being there, for bringing not only attention to the fact that boys shouldn't be participating against girls, but bringing attention to the fact that Sophie Cunningham is being bullied, is being threatened for having a view that we all agree with. And frankly, what happened at that rally today, we kind of knew. The other side, the crazy people that are for girls playing against boys, started using foul language, calling people names that were supporting Sophie Cunningham. It's typical. It's gaslighting. It's deflecting. And frankly, it's nonsense. But good for Sophie Cunningham. She's standing up.
I agree. Good for her. Dan Dockich. Dan, thanks very much for coming on.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
Watch this. Watch this, y'all. They had to get the token black person for this situation, boy. Y'all check this out. JTL Sports.
Extra shot, she just been a drastic ebbs and flow of and then making sure and play. Kelsey Mitchell.
What's this?
Physically, mentally. Yeah, I think it's just going to be recovery is going to be big, especially travel and obviously with the game schedule. Just making sure I'm doing everything that I can to recover quickly and the best that I can. So, I mean, take it day by day and see how it goes.
Maybe the other day, Kristen Markham, Liberty coach, was talking about y'all's connectivity on defense and how that's kind of evolved over time. Yeah. How have you seen that grow and sort of progress over the season?
You didn't go all in. Fast forward this. So that's.
So where are the streaks and the numbers a little bit on TV the other day? So this is kind of new for me. But
there
trying to keep the main thing, man, for real. Sophie just asked me, she was like, I was like, I don't know. I just, you just show up, you play, you try to do the right thing and you just let it flow. And that's a genuine response, man. Cause I can't tell you any other way,
Does it feel like to you that you've reached another level of scoring?
Yeah, I think the craziest part for me is I feel like there's another year that I could tap into. And that's just where my standard is. There's so much more film to watch and so much more work to kind of put in. But I take pride in how I get my work done, and how I get to my spots on the floor. And so a lot of the success I've had this year is just really taking that focus serious about making sure I find my spots on the floor and be confident in them.
This offense is on track to be the most high-scoring offense in the entire
history of the WNBA.
Yeah.
What do you feel like as a unit you guys have been able to accomplish together?
I think our the ability to see the next person be great is it's like floating in our locker room in a lot of positive ways. I think that if there's somebody with a hot hand, you want to make sure they get the ball all the way to the point where if there's a mismatch, you want to make sure we evaluate that mismatch. And I think that we've been having a lot of experience throughout the course of this year to kind of learn those things. And I think that we only get better. And I think that our chemistry and our ability to want to gel is real. I don't think that's a fake, and I think that that's why we have some success lately.
Kelsey, what has Steph meant to this group and her tonight?
Yeah, it kind of threw me for a loop too. I told her to her face, I said, Coach, this is for you. In terms of just a sense of confidence, a sense of awareness of that you're not alone. And if anybody know me, it's like I don't play that.
Is she not alone? She left Sophie alone and went over there and checked on the other girl. Like, what you mean you're not alone? This is crazy.
So it's like it really hurt my feelings to see her kind of like have emotions in terms of like not feeling valued and not feeling wanted in a place where she has to coach. At the end of the day, this is her job, and so she has to show up too. And I think that people don't really recognize that. And I think that it's our job to remind her. It's our cultures. It's our culture, and I think we have to remind her that our culture is not going to let her fall to the wayside. And so I hope she knows that.
You had Gary's since 2022.
Yeah.
What's it like having that right?
I love Klopp. Klopp is like our secret sauce, man. Klopp is like, seriously, the success that Seattle had in those times was because of people like Klopp. And I think that even though he's silent and just walk around while people really know who he is, he has the brains out this world. Defensively, he just wants us to be great. And I think that everything that he's experienced with Seattle and winning championships, I think that he's actually pointing to us and just in so many weird but original ways. And he's really good at what he does.
He's so quiet, just sit down.
Yeah, just kind of just seeping through throughout the course of the practice. But you'll never really hear him unless he has something really to say to you. And when he does, you listen.
Kelsey, on the defensive side, not talking about as much
Yeah.
as scoring, but it seems like you really at times have locked down some of the most elite guards.
Oh, I appreciate it.
I guess, how do you feel like you've also made strides?
I think that what I did learn over the course of my years is that defense can fuel a lot of your offensive wants. The things that you want offensively comes from getting defensive stops. And so I just started to take it into account, like, wow, if I could get one more deflection, if I get one more steal, you get a chance to go be you on the offensive side of things. But really, honestly, I'm a competitor. And so when Steph and BJ feels like I can do certain things and I could take certain defensive challenges, I think that they know that I'm not going to turn them down. I also think that my ability to want to play offense also is my ability to want to play defense. And I don't think people know that about me. But that's my job to keep people on notice.
And what would you credit your conditioning to? Because dove for that loose ball at the foul line the
Yeah.
other night. There was a time where other players were looking gassed.
Yeah.
Break through a double team. So
Yeah.
how are you finding that gear?
Honestly, God. have Paige prayed up top. That's what I do. But I really do take my conditioning serious.
Is she crying? Is she crying for the coach?
It's one of those things that as a guard, it's your only bread and butter that you can rely on. I'm not tall. I don't have a lot of length, and so really my speed and my ability to kind of be in more condition than others is really my separator. It's the one thing I have to rely on.
Kelsey, you have moments in games where you might not have the best play, and the next play you'll do something crazy good.
Mm-hmm.
How do you just continue to have this mentality of maybe that play ain't gonna stick with me? And did you always have that as a young?
No. I think that was being a pro. I think that's something I had to learn. If this was 3 or 4 years ago, I probably would have, collectively had 4 or 5 bad plays in a row. I just think over time, we just try to figure out ways to move on. And that's where my mindset of my career is right now. Just trying to find ways to just keep getting to the next play and giving my best each play.
Kelsey, May 7th against Dallas was a long time ago.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that one, and what can you take away from that one as your age?
Bro, don't tell me that it cut the part, bro. Because I've been sitting here listening. Still 2 minutes left. But damn.
I just think I for the right reason.
Is there a point where she went from teammate to friend, turning point that kind of?
I think it was always like that. I just think that as you kind of have experience, I think that connection for me is started. And so my job is to not be that person. If I can pour in different ways, and like I said, I always fill in the gaps for her because of what she does and how she does it, and the eyes and ears of all the people is it's the only thing that I could do is kind of fill in the gaps and kind of just be a presence for her.
I feel like this is you guys are playing with basketball.
Yeah.
At this point.
See,
really,
this is why I don't
get
like
all
this,
of it.
bro.
And I think that sometimes we shoot ourselves in the foot, and I think
See, this is why I don't like watching it on day shit, bro. Because we never get the part. They never get the part right. Get down in the
They can't find the crime, but yo, this shit made it to Joe Rogan, yo. Joe Rogan is talking about this shit. I'm gonna have to put an overlay up for Joe Rogan. The WNBA big time now, boy. They done made it to Joe fucking Rogan. They done made it on Joe Rogan. I don't think Joe Rogan ever talked about the WNBA. I got to put an overlay up. Stephen A., go up there and bloviate.
All right. How about that WNBA?
Hiccups.
How
Let's
about
get into
it?
fired up.
Yeah. Woo.
That dude who wants to qualify for the WNBA. What's his name?
Cantor.
Yeah, he just
Two of them
did
now.
trigonometry.
Oh, jeez.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Rounds.
Hilarious.
He's getting into podcasting.
Yeah, of course. Smart move. Look,
Yeah.
it's a great
Yeah.
move for him. They've painted themselves into the most loony position where they can't define what a woman is.
I like when he went after LeBron.
What do you say?
And he's like, hey, you're always stopping about human rights, and you're like saying NBA should go to China. He's like,
right.
What's come
He
on?
had a good one a while ago about, I think, the leader of
Turkey.
Turkey. What's his name?
Merge.
See, everybody's talking about this thing because they know people. They're not going to let this look like be a surface level one-ply toilet paper thing because they know it's bigger than that. They know they're challenging this whole ideology on what's a woman, who can't define a woman, and why can't they define a woman. So if it's anybody can be a woman, the overlay was right on time. Laugh out loud. Salute, bro. What's going on, ballhead Wayne? Salute. Appreciate it. But yeah, man, this Joker, is they've been putting us through it the whole time. This is a woman, that's a woman, this a woman. So it is what it is.
Javan?
No.
Asturion?
Constantinople?
I remember that was like his first controversy.
Yeah, that's when he was like,
Yeah,
his
like
family had to
you-
disown him.
Yeah, they're like, you can't come back to Turkey.
Yeah.
So he's like a troll.
No. He was
Back
like
then, that was
rebel.
like,
Oh.
It was badass.
that was a good one.
Okay.
This thing that he's doing where he's pretending that he's a woman is very smart. Like in this day and age, we almost need someone that's a public figure to do something like that to show everyone how ridiculous it is. That some psychopath can just pretend that they're a woman and knock women over on the court.
I gotta take this out.
Norman's a fucking woman, dude.
There's what
My belly.
there's some
Hurt my
country
throat.
where there is it's France where there's a transgender woman on the team just dominates.
I bet.
Oh, I
It's
saw
a
the
giant
picture.
dude, who's
Ripped.
just dominating these chicks.
And
And
the ticket sales are up.
I doubt they're
I'd
not.
go watch
No
that.
one's
Would you
talked
watch
about
that freak
WNBA
show?
more than
Talk about it.
the
It's
last 2
nonstop.
weeks.
What's that?
No one's talked about this league more than the last 2
WNBA
weeks.
found its.
That's true.
Because nobody cared about the league at all
Yeah.
forever.
So this is the guy.
Yo.
Whoa.
Like that's fucking preposterous. Just
And
literally preposterous.
she's on the beat.
And this is the guy that's playing in the WNBA, the biological male that's playing overseas in France that I showed y'all the clip. Look how muscular, look how lean. But they say it's no advantage to it. That's what they say. They say there's no advantage. They say this, they got the same as this. They still can beat this person. But this person is dominating.
League?
I don't know.
I don't think she's in the pros.
No, she
it's
plays
in
for France.
France.
Oh.
French national under.
Wouldn't turn down an offer to play in the NBA or WNBA. That's
Well,
all.
of course.
Hilarious.
Why would you want to go where the money sucks?
I go for 75 grand a year.
It's a weird thing. Like I'm fighting really hard.
got
to
it.
get a
What is
horrible
10?
paycheck.
They actually got it upped.
Who's the biggest baller in the WNBA? Like who makes the most?
I don't know who makes the most, but
Clark's got
Caitlin
those
Clark.
endorsements.
Asia Wilson is
Aja?
the best player.
Asia
Yeah.
Wilson's the best
Yeah.
player.
And the girl with the glasses with the poofy hair, she's very good.
Boston.
I don't know. If you said her name, I know she's
So
really
like,
good.
what is like top player?
I'm
you
sure their
think?
salaries suck, but
Yeah,
then
it's
they
all
get
endorsements.
sponsors.
It's endorsements.
Yeah. So Caitlin Clark is probably the highest paid.
So the more controversy there is, the more people do come to
Yeah,
see them.
of
So do you
course.
think?
Way up.
Do you think?
So Asia Wilson is the highest paid player in the WNBA. She makes $1.4 million base salary for 2026. The terms of a total contract value and average annual value. Asia Wilson signed a 3-year, $5 million deal, $1.67 million a year. Elijah Boston signed a 4-year, $6.3 million deal, 1.57. So these guys all of these guys will be millionaires. If Asia Wilson is making 1.4 million, by the time these transgender lesbians and males get there, they're gonna boost the revenue of the league, and they'll be making $2, $3, $4 million easy. So these women are getting paid now. Back in the day, they wasn't getting paid like this. You had to go overseas to make $1 million. Back in the day, the women would make more money overseas than they did here in the U.S. So if it's 1.4 over here in the U.S., I couldn't imagine what they're making overseas right now. You don't think it's going to happen? Something going to happen. There's a reason why they're avoiding this. They trying to figure out. They on the phone with them lawyers like, we can't just change the rules right now. What can we do? We can't let them play. We cannot let them play. They're trying to figure out the least damaging way to get them to play. They can probably go to Enes Kanter and pay him to cut this out, or they can pay Royce Wright to cut this out, and then they can put a new rule change in. But somebody gonna get paid. I need to throw my name in the hat before everybody get paid, but somebody gonna get paid. Because they're not trying to deal with this. They're going to demonize these guys so much. How much you think they'll take? I'm Royce White. I count up how many years I can play and count up how much he'd be making per year, because he got to be the best player in the league. So if Asia's getting 1.4, he definitely got to be getting that just the first year. The second year, he got to jump up $5 million. Because what he finna bring to the league, the dunks. The whole league gonna be G League players. They not finna sit there and take that little old salary they get, and they supposed to be right up under NBA players, and the girls skip the line on them. The WNBA are closer to the pay gap than the G League, which is crazy. KB declare wise hot. Man, I'm not finna run up and down that goddamn court. If they say, yeah, you can play, I'm not going to ever go out there. Shit, I'm not finna do that.
They allow them to foul more now because
they went with. That's what I was about to say. Nobody watched the league forever. It hemorrhaged money forever, and then
they got first profitable year last year.
Racial division. They go, ooh, there's money here.
Yeah.
And now we got the transgender thing.
Well, the transgender thing's not real yet. There's not a real transgender person in the WNBA, but there definitely some fucking roller derby shit going down. They're throwing those bitches on their heads.
I like it. I like it. It's 80s basketball. It's Larry Bird getting knocked down, punching somebody. I'm like,
Bill Lambiers, a whole league of Bill Lambiers.
Bring that back.
Stephen A. Smith had a real good point when he was talking about the comparison between Michael Jordan, like the athletes of today versus, and one of the things that he was talking about was the physicalness of the game.
Hands off on the stars sucks.
Yeah. They would, and he watched some highlights, showing what it was like. Like, Jesus, they threw down.
When they retired Bill Lambier's number, they instructed the ushers to cheap shot everyone as they're showing their seats out of respect.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those guys fought.
Yeah.
It got ridiculous. And now the WNBA is doing the same thing.
The best was Oakley. They would break up a fight, and the foul line, he was just like, hey, they won't let us meet me outside though. Afterwards, let's meet you outside. Let's actually do it.
The crazy thing about the WNBA, imagine if the NBA had the same sexual dynamic. Imagine if the most of the team was a bunch of gay dudes who were very aggressive and black.
Black's already there.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying? Imagine if you reverse that.
Hey, they had the police nightsticking us right there on the court. They had the police tasing motherfuckers. He say, imagine if there's a bunch of gay dudes very aggressive and black. Oh shit. Let's see that again.
Who were like very aggressive. The NBA had the same sexual dynamic. Imagine if the most of the team was a bunch of gay dudes who were like very aggressive and black.
Black's already there.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Imagine if you reversed that. If the WNBA was just a bunch of straight people playing basketball, no controversy. No, sex isn't even a thought in the NBA. No one thinks about gay players in the NBA. In the WNBA, there's a ton of like out.
It's mostly
lesbians.
gay.
It's all
mostly gay.
Yeah.
Mostly big black gay ladies. And a few scared-looking Sophie Cunninghams that have to point fingers at people. I mean, you're surrounded. by people who think you're, like perhaps sexually attractive.
And the heteros that come in, the rest of them go like, "I'm going to turn you."
They try to turn the heteros.
Yeah,
wow.
They're like conquest for
But
sure.
they've made it into a reality show. It's become like Real Housewives. They're all just fight now.
Right.
That's the only reason you watch.
But it is an interesting sexual dynamic.
Of course.
Could imagine if it was like that in the NBA.
But this happened with
Big,
the women's
giant
march.
homos, just big, giant, 7-foot tall gay guys.
All right, break it up.
Trying to
break it up.
fuck.
I said break it up.
What the fuck is wrong with Joe Rogan? Oh shit. Man, this motherfucker done lost his mind. Oh man. KB, you gotta act shy there or break the backboard. Laugh out loud. No, man. Hell to the dog. Man, this motherfucker. I was about to say there's already some big 7-foot gay dudes in the NBA. Excuse me, trying to F. Did you read what Dwight Howard said in them court transcripts? I thought Cino was lying. I said, God damn. They got court transcripts of these big old dudes. Yeah, and rest his soul, Collins used to be in there. They talking about LeBron. Man, I think it's more than that. We just don't know about them yet.
Wild. Partying, going everywhere and fucking wearing leather and shit.
Are they
going
dating?
out.
do that.
Are they dating
They
each
all
other?
dress very gay.
The men?
NBA, yeah.
They
Oh,
do?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on?
The stylish.
Crazy outfits.
Black
They wear
stylish
like
is
it's
borderline
like
gay.
a fashion show when they walk into the locker room. They all wear the craziest fucking outfits.
Hats,
Really?
derby hats.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What?
Oh
Yeah.
But that's
Okay,
just black
this is
culture.
just fashionable.
Larry,
I'm
that's
talking
black culture. That's black culture.
Oh, I love those shoes.
This guy's like a muppet.
The shoes and the mask.
If
The
this was
mask and the
Chelsea-
shoes
Black
are
culture.
crazy.
You don't see Larry Bird wearing that.
What is okay? What's going on?
You
Or
don't see
Stockton?
Michael Jordan wearing
This
that.
is crazy. He's gonna
That's
fall.
true. He would
That
wear
guy's
a
gonna
big
step
suit.
on a stair wrong.
What is that, Clay?
Whoa.
That's not Clay, sorry.
Wait a minute. They really dress like this?
Yes. Yeah.
Every game?
Yeah. Every game.
Is this a big thing? Do they get like sponsors for their
like a setup
clothing and
thing.
stuff?
Yeah,
Like a
it's
setup thing.
Met Gala every day.
So you see them walking through the hallways. That's the deal.
Pull up Magic Johnson's son if you can.
Oh,
Well,
jeez.
he's not a player. He's not a
Talk about a
basketball
wacky outfit. Or Dwayne Wade.
Off to a hot start, fellas.
Man, these outfits are terrible. These outfits they showing are trash.
Just say
Let's fucking go. We're back.
Look at that. I mean, he's like,
Yeah,
he's like a
Draymond.
rapper.
This was
Draymond
not the
going
kind
for
of
Cat
gay that I
Williams.
was talking about.
Look at Draymond and the cat.
I stumbled
Yeah.
upon an Instagram page
yeah.
called Cumcore.
What the fuck?
It's,
It's a
it's
family show here.
hardcore music for gay guys. So it's gay guys in like little like nipple leather straps and jock straps and motorcycle hats,
Yeah.
bare chested, hairy, and they're doing hardcore music and they're just talking about sucking dicks and getting cum.
Oh, boy.
So that's the kind of gay I was talking about. This is just fashionable.
Yeah.
That would be the type of gay you would be if you were gay.
You'd be a
I'd be
shirt off
hardcore.
gay.
Like,
Yeah.
I bet I'd get bored. I'd get bored with it. I'd
Yeah.
probably settle down with some twink.
No way. You have to fight.
You'd
You'd go out for cigarettes and come back alive.
See the trash.
It
can.
is what.
That means you've been thinking about this, and I apologize for leaving cans.
It's fine.
I leave cans every time I leave. You're right. I didn't even think about it until I noticed you put a trash can here.
Don't sweat it, big dog.
But they've painted themselves in a corner because if they don't let the guy in, it looks bad.
Right.
But if they do, he's going to dunk.
Well, the thing is, can you define what a woman is? And until you can't, if you can't define what a woman is, then you're an idiot. And this is nonsense. And that's what your ideology is. Your ideology is so stupid, you can't define the difference between a male and a female. And so you've decided that people identifying with something means it's a real thing, and you have to say it because everybody else says it, and they scare you, and they'll cancel you and go after you. So everyone's agreed to nonsense. So this is where we painted ourselves into this dumbass fucking corner.
I think.
And this, what Joe Rogan is saying, is what people don't want to talk about. They want to make it just about Enes Kanter just because he's a Republican, and Royce White is because he's a Republican. No, it's because you're putting biological males in the bathrooms with people's wives. They don't like that. And I'm not trying to offend nobody, but I've seen these clips. And so that's why people are trying to have a deeper conversation around this situation. No one wants to exclude anybody. That's why I said you should let them play. But you also got to have some common sense too.
Everybody kind of agrees. It's like
even
gray
AOC
area.
was just talking about how woke point 1.0 was crazy. And all the different things that she was saying, all the defund the police talk that was going on, that everybody realized that's a ridiculous thing to say.
I think both sides on sports are like, that's a stupid issue. We shouldn't. We're not going to die on that.
But they won't say it.
Democrats are like, we're taking that off the table.
What do you mean?
They're like, I think it's like 80% of Democrats don't think.
Trans women in sports, yeah.
So it's just the right dunking on the left because they're like,
yeah, but there's a thing where those people that are the most radical will come after you if you don't agree wholeheartedly with their nonsense. So if you say anything like, look, trans women aren't women. They're men who identify as women, which is fine. But there's a biological distinction that protects women in sports, and that's chromosomes. We know XX chromosome, you're a woman, XY, you're a dude. Do it that way. Call yourself whatever the fuck you want. But if you want to play in the WNBA, you have to have XX. And if you want to be a fucking, well, look, that's the other thing. No one gives a shit if a trans man wants to try and play in the NBA.
Here's something fun.
Joe Rogan don't give a damn what he say, because that's the truth. No one cares about it the opposite way. No one cares about it the opposite way. They only care about it this way, even though they were saying other stuff. They only care about it the other way. Now, I don't think they're gonna do this whole XX chromosome thing, because then that would be defining what a man and defining what a woman is. And this is what they don't want to get to, because if you set that precedent, then what do you say for the average person that's identifying as a man?
Call yourself whatever the fuck you want, but it's chromosomal distinction that protects women in sports, and that's chromosomes. We know XX chromosome, you're a woman, XY, you're a dude. Do it that way. Call yourself whatever the fuck you want. But if you want to play in the WNBA, you have to have XX. And if you want to be a fucking, well, look, that's the other thing. No one gives a shit if a trans man wants to try and play in the NBA.
Here's something fun.
No one's trying to stop that. That
Here's
would be
something fun. Wait till someone in WNBA comes out as a man.
That's the rumor.
There is a rumor, solid one. I'm not gonna say who, but do they wipe their name off the record books?
Maybe that's why they're holding off.
They probably should.
They should.
Well, if you look at
Pete Rose is
Caitlyn
in the
Jenner,
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he actually got those stats as a player.
Yeah,
he was a
if
good
you were
player.
like, I was a man the whole time, you'd be like, oh yeah, you.
Hold on, there's one more thing on Fox News. Yeah, everybody talking about the fever coach that didn't see the foul. Boy, this shit going crazy. It's going dumb. Everybody's talking about the WNBA. That's one thing you could take away from this. that the WNBA is at its peak popularity right now.
WNBA, Women's National Basketball Association, but this is an organization led by Kathy Engelbert that seems to not know what a woman is. In fact, this conference that they were talking about, Stuart, said they were going to define their eligibility rules. And let me just give you an example. The Women's Tennis Association.
Somebody looking for me. Who? Yeah, a lot of people believe that Brittany Griner is a man, but I don't think she was born a man. I think she just had some surgeries done to cut off certain things as far as her lady parts up top.
The WTA. I'm going to paraphrase this. Essentially said, look, if you're born a woman, you can play. If you're not born a woman, you can't play. And several of the players have come out and supported that. The WNBA, no such thing. And Stuart, if I was really going to sort it out, it has been exposed, the WNBA has been, as more of an activist society as opposed to a professional league. They had the coach of the Indiana Fever, a legendary player here in my state, Indiana, who came out and literally said, she's the coach of Caitlin Clark. People are paying attention to her. I'm not educated enough to know the biology between a man and a woman. She said that in a press conference. Now, you tell me, I'm not the smartest guy. In fact, I'm among the dumbest guy, but I know the difference in biology. That's the level of the WNBA. That's where they're at. They're afraid to stand up to their players.
Yeah,
and frankly, they have an absolute mess on their hands.
Do you think that eventually, at some point, I don't know when, the WNBA would instigate genetic tests and say, look, you take the test. If you're a woman, you play. If you're a man, you don't. Do you think the WNBA will ever get to that point?
I think they will, but if you ask me the same question, do I think a transgender athlete, a male transitioning to a female, will ever play in the WNBA? I might give you the same answer. Honest to goodness, that's where we're at here. You know, I got to assume that cooler heads, common sense will prevail and they will protect women's sports, Stuart. Yeah. I got to think anyway, that they're going to say, very simple, here's a genetic test. You're a female, play. You're a male, not play. But I swear to you, as odd as this sounds, if somebody came out with a betting line and said, will there be a transgender basketball player, man transitioning to woman playing in the WNBA, both of them might be 50-50, truthfully.
That was a nice attempt to sort it out, Dan. We got work to do, I think. Right?
I don't know. I think so, too.
Dan, this is for you. President Trump is already making some picks for the Super Bowl. He's got his eyes on the Patriots, the Rams.
Man, that's all I have for y'all today on this issue. Enes Kanter is going to make history. She's about to drop 60 points per game. Let her dunk. That's all I have for y'all on this one. I'll probably come back with another pre-record or another live about something else. When I'm up out of this thing, I'm gone.